Behind the Chair podcast, sponsored by Ascension Extensions. I'm your favorite retired stylist, Tricey, and today I have a very special guest.
Hi guys, hi
Karli. Or you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Karli, a longtime client. I feel like we've known each other for what, 10 years now.
Yeah.
So we've stuck around in each other's lives and it's been great.
Yes.
Yeah, love it. Forever.
Natural hair client. She
Yes.
came to me natural hair. As her hair grew, it was like a foot every time I seen her. It just grew even longer and even longer. And she would make me braid up all that beautiful, long, thick ass hair and sew in some new beautiful, long, thick hair. So she is a long time client. She's had much experience with my hair extensions in general, just my service, and me as a person. So thank you so much for coming and joining the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, what do you mean a
What
podcast?
is this? A podcast? Last time we talked, different lifestyle, but
Do you want to tell them a little bit about what you do? What is your profession?
yeah.
You're on the spot.
Yes, I do dental hygiene, creative directing, helping with projects, things on the side, and occasionally modeling for things like that. It's things I'm passionate about. It's kind of what I'm doing now, but yeah.
Wonderful. Smart, beautiful. Do you want to share a little bit about your experience with our hair extensions? Because when you first came to me, I don't know, did you bring your own extensions when you first came to me, or did you buy directly when you first came?
I'm originally from Idaho, so kind of like you talked about in your first episode. Even moving here, there's not a lot of hair braiders, hair stylists that you can even find. You were right down the street from my house, so I had come to you with, I'm sure, no shame, but like Sally's extensions, like very ratted, very unattainable, I would say, of a style to keep in your hair for months, as a weave should be. My natural hair was not healthy. I was in a very poor state just because being in an area that was predominantly white, I didn't have a lot of access to care, tips or tricks. Really, no one was telling me anything. When we found each other, I feel like that's when a lot of the game changed.
Hell yeah.
My extensions.
She raised her hair standards.
I did raise my standards. A lot of people didn't know I had extensions because that's how clean the blend was.
Absolutely.
Between my leave out, the care, learning like the different tricks. There was a point when my hair was fried to here, which is kind of how I got into extensions and even doing a weave, was the damage initially and needing to find you in a way to kind of fix that and grow things out into a natural, healthy state. But besides that, the hair ate down.
Okay.
Nobody ever knew. Anytime I would say I have extensions, they'd be like, excuse me? Yes. Or the Ascension Extensions in for 6 years, I would say. So I do feel like if there's a true believer, I've tried it all, in the pool, in the heat, in the winters, every type of like climate, every style I've tried.
Yeah. You came to me with not much knowledge about hair extensions or quality hair extensions.
The difference.
Or even just having the proper stylist. Because you didn't have a proper stylist in Idaho, right?
No one.
There's nobody you went to on a regular basis to care for your hair.
That's what I mean. I found you random and
we
took off.
Do you feel like you learned a lot by coming to me as a stylist over the years?
Yeah, because I do feel like besides even the service, we were just naturally having a lot of conversation, whether it would be what type of shampoo to use, what type of, like, there's a huge difference that nobody tells you when you do start your extensions.
Yeah.
The products you're going to be using, the type of hair, all that is like a consideration into how you're going to care for it. And the Indian hair, the Asian hair, and the blend, what looks best. And even you knew a lot about, I'm in the pool, I'm doing these things, and you kind of helped me, this is what's best for you. Kind of tell me straight up. Yeah.
So you learned a lot about extensions, you learned a lot about your natural hair care, so you feel like I was able to educate you in general about hair care and
just things
care of hair extensions. Okay, and you found me on Google.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm telling y'all, some of the paid advertising is much better, and you do get better clients. But the type of people, if you want a long list of clients, if you want client retention, certain advertising platforms are better than others. So that's just a little tip for y'all, okay?
Definitely a Google review reader.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Location was big. And then also educate. I mean, you can tell by someone's page. They know what they're doing. Are they going to get this down right? Is the blend good? Things like that I saw a lot of that I was like, okay, like, let's see.
Exactly. We'll insert some pictures here.
Yeah. Before and after.
Take
lots of pictures.
A little break. I'm sure you're very long. She liked them very long. What inch? Like 22, 24?
Always. I always making selling like 3.5 bundles every time. Like it was
4 bundles.
Yeah.
And again, her hair so thick, so long.
And I do feel like you were always either I don't know if you remember this, you did give me a flat iron at one point. Mine had broke. Yeah, and I had come to you, I don't even know how this, and I was like, my flat iron broke, and you're like, and I still to this day have that flat iron.
See?
It is one of the best, like...
we only do quality.
We do quality.
Here, okay?
And I thought it was crazy that you would have given that to me, because obviously...
Really?
Well, one's like 100, 200, so I did think it was like, oh my god, like, but even same thing, the quality that you're using, you were like, you gotta clean this, you gotta, things like that to help the hair also stay healthy.
Yeah.
When you're using that, you were like, you don't want to just grab one that's, you know, poor quality. You taught me how they come together, things like that you did educate me on. Besides even the extension, just my natural hair and how to keep the contrast of the leave out and the extensions, the blend, but how to keep that healthy is a huge task in itself.
Absolutely.
That we kind of went through together.
You haven't worn extensions in a couple years now. How often were you rebuying? How long were you able to use those same extensions and wash, flat iron? She used to come to me with them flat ironed even. Always. And I would be like, girl, you do not have to do all this. But she was very diligent about really taking care of her hair extensions. So can you recall how long of a stretch you had a set?
I will say the hair is good quality, so it wasn't ever like a struggle to take care of them. It was never like I have to comb every time, I have to oil continuously. So that did help because it wasn't a lot of that brushing and that shedding that I was getting. Of course you get natural shedding, but a lot of that helped me maintain them for a long time. I personally replaced them once a year on my birthday. But there was like a point when someone else was in a different situation, couldn't afford hair, and I gave them my braids.
Oh, wow.
They still used those that I had had in for a year, for another year. And so I do feel like it was more preference to switch them up every year. But
of course.
I had them at least, the longest stretch I'd say probably 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years with the extensions.
And by the end of that 2 years, were they still usable? And
perfect condition. I feel like if you would have compared maybe another...
The hair you used to use before you found mine?
To this, it was an extreme difference, and just like I said, not having to maintain them, even that constant shedding, that tangling, things like that, that made them very natural, but also just like easy to maintain as if it was my own hair.
Exactly. You hear that? 2 years.
2 years.
I didn't even know that. Fucking wow. I love it. So outside of hair, what's been going on, girl?
Oh, what hasn't been going on at this point? Life is
it's
crazy.
Ghetto out here.
Yes, we're all just different opportunities.
Yeah.
Living in like downtown area now, so that's been fun.
Love downtown.
Different,
it's fun.
Different experience, but yeah, just living life. I mean, we always taught shop, so what's new with you?
Girl, started a podcast.
Yeah, what's that about? Let's talk about that and why.
Well, you know, I don't know. I feel like I always have a lot of ideas, like literally a lot of ideas. And my biggest thing is just executing certain ones. Yeah. And as far as retiring from the hair salon.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank
That's major.
you.
Yes.
Applause all around.
Yes.
Apart from retiring, it's just executing all the ideas I have, and then having the e-commerce store, shooting for that. One of my other clients is our photographer. Shout out to Amber. Amber in the back. So, again, I've just met so many great people by doing hair and just giving myself to everybody that people are willing to help me execute my ideas. So regardless of how wild and crazy some of my ideas sound, there's people who understand what I'm doing. And Amber is great in her craft, and you're great in your craft. You literally look like a fucking model. So it's like, girl, come over here and work with me. So I just been working still. Like, work is never gonna stop for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure even when I'm 60 years old, I'll still be coming up with different shit and ideas, because that's just how I am, you know?
So how do you feel like even like those conversations start that you maintain with clients, that relationship? Like what brings that on? Do you feel like just the comfortability? Just
I mean, I just give myself, you know what I mean? Like, I am who I am. You either love it or you hate it. And more than not, people just love my spirit more than anything. I don't think it's just the fact that I'm from Milwaukee or from the Midwest or a black girl or whatever the case. I give myself to people. And falling in love with somebody's spirit and soul is something totally different than just, oh, well, she's a hairstylist, and who wouldn't want to have a hairstylist as a friend, you know? So just doing that, I feel like I was able to keep a lot of my clients, and a lot of them have become friends. So that's a reason why I started this podcast, because I am going to miss like the conversation of it all. Like,
so keeping the conversation alive.
Keeping the conversation alive.
Clients that are going through, even when you're sitting in the chair, you don't realize like that little venting session that's going to happen, it's going to come out. And even we both moved to so many parts of the valley that would just like, we're crazy. We'd be like, oh, I'm going here. You'd be like, oh, I'm going here. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm going to Egypt. Oh, I'm going, like, all these conversations that we had in life that happened, I still feel like it was something that when I would get my hair redone, we would always like need to fill each other in on. And that made the connection to like knowing you, like you said, knowing your spirit, that made it more than like a relationship of just like your stylist, but like, hey, we're just like catching up.
I'm pure, right? So I just always lead with my spirituality, and some people catch on to that and some people don't. So the ones that do catch on to it, they're like, what, wait, what, you do what now? One of my recent new clients, I mentioned Sedona is a beautiful place for her to visit. You know, she just moved to Arizona, and you know, for me, Sedona is a very spiritual place. And she was like, what do you mean spiritual, right? So that's what I'm saying. Some people catch on to certain things that I say, and some people don't. You know, some people could have just heard Sedona and kept moving, but she heard the spirituality part. I get to where I'm going in life because I follow my gut. I follow my intuition. You know, I follow the God part of me, which we all have. And that's hard for some people. They like, what do you mean? I'm just going off of what my mom told me to do, or my dad wanted me to be a lawyer kind of thing. My parents wanted me to go to college, and I just go with my gut. And before I started beauty school, I was in school for psychology.
Really?
Ironically.
I did not know that. Okay.
I was in school for psychology. So I failed one of my math classes. I count some money, but I can't do no math now. I failed one of my fucking math classes of all things, and they wanted $2,000 for me to take it again. And I was like, you know what? I ain't got that. I ain't gonna have it tomorrow either. So the same plaza that the beauty school was in, I would see all these girls with all this different colored hair, and I'm like, what the hell is over there? So one day I went over there. Lo and behold, it was a beauty school. So I was like, maybe beauty school is gonna pay for this class so I can get my psychology degree. But once I started doing hair, I was like, oh, I get the best of both worlds, because again, conversationally, I just hear so many stories of people. And of course I don't give anything outside of hair advice.
Yeah.
I'm not giving any personal advice, but I have so many personal, relatable life experiences that I could share my own. And that too makes people like more connected. It just feels more real, you know? So
But I do think that's one of the most important things. You have to trust who you're working with. Like, this is something that makes you feel beautiful. So if like the connection's not there, the energy's not there, I feel like that's so much deeper than even just if you're a good stylist. Like, that's what's going to keep your clients around. And I do feel like that's why you're probably able to retire.
Yes,
is because you have some great clients that have stuck by you. But yeah, I just always felt like it was more than even hair care.
Yeah.
And just like that relationship that you gave in that time, that care, that was just like, okay, like, and we walking out looking bad, like,
okay,
it always helps. But also like I said, that conversation very much, I would always feel, I mean, we talked about everything. And it would always be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go start a business, I'm gonna travel, like some type of like things that we talked about, we would end up branching into other things.
Yes.
And I feel like that's even how we got here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my clients called me inspirational, and I was kind of shocked to hear that. Like,
really?
Me?
No, definitely.
I'm inspiring? Like, how? I'm in shambles over here. What the hell am I inspiring? Like, I feel like I'm falling apart every other day, but that's the thing. I guess some people pick up on certain things that I don't even realize that I'm putting out because I'm just being me.
Just
I'm
being
genuine, yeah.
Which I think is like the most important thing, but also, like I said, why we stuck around. Even, I'm sure Amber can talk about this, like, there are lots of stylists that it's not that bad. They're not going to give you tips.
No.
They're not going to tell you about a different braider. They're not going to refer you to different products, things that are going to make your hair grow. There was so many times that you were like, why are you getting extensions? Your hair is just as long as these.
Yes. See? I wasn't... Did you guys hear that? Say that one more time.
My hair was just as thick, just as long. Literally, you were putting those in there like, huh, what are we doing? What's happening? But...
And most people would do it just for the money, right? I didn't do it for the money. I did it because it was just a natural talent of mine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm selling extensions, but it's also like, girl, if you don't need them, I'm gonna tell you.
No, and I loved that. Yeah, and I feel like that was very real too, because a lot of hairstylists won't get you to that point.
Yeah.
They want you to come in for a cut color trim every so often. They're not gonna want to be doing these things to have you go, no, you're completely natural, no, go in braids for summer. Like, there was always that part of our relationship too that I like respected and really trusted in you too, that you were giving me like referrals to like, oh, you want to get your hair braided? Okay, here's where, like, you knew how it was.
Yeah. I'm not competitive, I'm not stingy, nothing. So where are you trying to go in your journey with modeling and creative direction?
I mean, my overall goal, I mean, hair regardless is something that's like so important to me. I think like my personal journey was really hard, even getting to a natural state. There was a point I would never even let people see me without my extensions in.
Oh wow.
Because I was so insecure about even just like my hair, even understanding it. It's made a night and day transformation between where I was years ago to now, like properly taking care of it and understanding. But I do think that even representation within the community is so important. It's how we feel beautiful. Something that was hard for me, I did play sports growing up. You didn't do your hair, you didn't do your nails. You were very much, if you played sports, a tomboy. So once I actually started my natural hair journey, even before that, when we kind of met, that confidence that I got just feeling a little bit more understanding of my hair. My mom used to always say, it's something you'll have to deal with for your whole life.
Yeah.
Being a black woman, it is part of like your maintenance. It's part of a bill you'll always have is doing your hair. That is true. That's something that we'll always have to tend to, something that's very important to us, as it should be. It's our heritage, and it's something that's so different than everybody else's. It's truly a way that we can show our culture just walking around. So with like hair being so important to me, I want to be like the creative director over some type of a magazine, some type of a show or production, that we're making sure those cultural impacts are still being reflected in artwork.
I know, that's right.
We worked so hard to get to where we are. It's not just about athletically, beauty. It's all these other things that come together that make us who we are.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like really focusing on that, and even people like you that are passionate about what they're doing, working and continuing to create projects with them that they're passionate about is something that I envision myself continuing to do, is pushing people's projects and what they're passionate about into their vision. I do, like I said, even modeling is something that Amber and I got to work with together. It was fun to see her talent through a lens. Not just looking at myself in a picture, not just looking at like how all that stuff comes across, but how my hair is going to be viewed, how Amber captured the lighting, just how beautiful things looked. And like I said, more of an art form is what my drive is, what my goal is creating art, just being a part of that type of culture, lifestyle going
That's beautiful.
forward. Yeah.
You deserve to be on somebody's runway, magazine, creative director.
Yes.
I can say I did drop the weight of somebody not wanting to support my vision. And because of that, I feel like I gained so many more people who do support my vision.
Do you feel like you've met anyone recently that's been like helping you with this vision, or you're like, not even going there?
The quality of men is like, I don't know if it's just Arizona.
It is ranked as like one of the worst places to date in.
But Arizona for me, no. Like, it is awful. Like, I'm a different type of bitch. All around. Like, in many ways. It's not just because I'm an entrepreneur. It's not just because I'm in a predominantly white state and I'm a black woman from the ghetto. I will cuss your ass out. And I had to with a couple of men here. They're just really disrespectful, and I'm not used to the disrespect. You know, my standards are high everywhere, not just my hair. So I'm not used to the disrespect. I mean, I meet people, but I will say I'm still so traumatized from my marriage that it doesn't sound appealing to me. And then again, with the men that I'm meeting, they're just, whose legacy am I carrying on? You know, like, whose legacy? Because I don't see it as just, oh, I'm going to get married and have some kids. But for me, it's spiritual. Like, for me, God has somebody for all of us. And if it's not my divine masculine, I don't want them.
You'll notice a difference.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, always.
Hell yeah. The last guy that I met, I did feel like he was divine, but he didn't know that. And it's...
You can't teach that.
You can't teach that.
Because everyone's timing, when they realize the divine timing, divine masculine, divine feminine, is when it hits you, and when you realize and get shifted into that, it's not going to be like, oh, I have to tell you you're this. And
you know, the way I feel about spirituality, I'm just going to continue on my path and on my journey. It's hard, it's a struggle, it's awful, like, especially where my journey is at right now. It's damn near debilitating. But I don't know anything but to put one foot in front of the other. I don't know what to do except to keep going. So whether he realizes it or not, I mean, it was good to meet him. Baby, I gotta go. I got shit to do. You know, it's no, for me, there's no waiting around. You know, like, oh, well, maybe I'll see and maybe I'll give this. Fuck that. Time not waiting for nobody. Seriously, it's just time isn't waiting for anybody. And if the next man come along who sees me for who I am as a divine feminine woman who doesn't need you, I'm not looking for a wealthy man, which, trust me, it's a lot of very wealthy men in Arizona. I know my worth, and it's very easy for me to go get some millionaire, but that's not my calling.
Well, and I feel like a lot of people have that idea that it just is, oh, let me just go grab someone with money. That is, I think, a huge problem with Arizona, is there is a lot of, and trying to fit into what a man or what the person is dating is wanting versus like, hey, no, if it's not my perfect person, if it's not my divine timing, I'm just not going to try for it. They would rather for the easier.
I think that's the thing. It's so many insecure people. And I think that's another reason why I'm not dating, because I can't do the apps.
Yeah, no.
Girl.
No.
Baby.
Never.
The last time I downloaded the app,
couldn't even.
I'm not judging. I'm not trying to kink shame or none of that.
Mhm.
I'm the least judgmental person ever. But that shit threw me for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, we'll get a word from our sponsors. We gotta pay some bills, baby. Take a little break.